Okay, raining again. It's all or nothing here in Thailand. So, see what we can show you here. We have rain, we have deep water. It's not getting down here. So much water coming off the roof into that tank that the overflow pipe will be nothing to go to the erosion will tank. And I've been really working on a problem we've got with our transfer pipe. We've got the big dam here in front of us. Here, I can't go ahead and give you a better picture of it, it's soaring. But we have a plastic poly pipe that goes from that dam under the concrete here and down towards the small dam. If you've been following, the small dam is on this side of the house and it comes out just in the corner by this first tree. So when the big dam becomes overfull, we transfer it into the small dam. Oh! Send it down, Huey. And that transfer pipe's got an issue. And obviously somewhere under the concrete here, but she shoved a garden hose up the pipe and it got as far as, you can see a shaft of a digging implement there, a long spade sticking out of the ground in the middle of the picture. We got that far and we had one of these ornate rubber trees growing there, so the first thought was that it stopped exactly at the actual base of that tree. The hose wouldn't go any further, so my assumption, as a lot of people probably would, is that the roots of that tree had crushed the pipe or got in and clogged it. So cut the tree down, dug around the tree, got the root ball out and found no. There's a joint there, but there's no ingress of roots at that point. So the next thought is that this mango tree here, which is doing really well, its roots especially bypass it also. There's a joint in the concrete just about middle there, about a foot back from the blocks around the base of that mango. So the pipe's very close to quite a thick front tree. It could be the root system has broken into the pipes there, or found a gap or a crack when the workmen were laying concrete, and the roots have grown back all the way to where I was digging initially, thinking that's where the joint was. So what I'm doing at the moment is pulling out that porcelain. Oh, king cow. Okay, darling. Okay, well, I'm going to have something to eat for the moment, and we'll continue in a second. So the power's out. But Tony did some cooking and we've got a beautiful meal here for us. But she's not here to actually enjoy it. She's off walking up and down the road to make sure the fish aren't escaping from the cats. I have a makeshift light here. I have a video light in the stand. That's an LED, uses very little power. And I've got it hooked up to a power bank. So I've got a little bit of light. It's not a candlelight dinner, but it'll do. So I'm going to be sitting here and eating this. And it's still pouring down out there, still bucketing down. So we'll get on with it. So today started out that I was digging a trench to liberate a pipe that was connecting the big dam to the small dam, because it was blocked and we weren't getting the water from the big dam down to the second dam down the other side of the house. Well, then it started to rain. It's been raining now for a solid 2 hours, quite strong. The small dam, which is open down to the bottom of the road and is draining through a culvert under the road, still it's not draining quick enough, because this walkway between the small house we live in and the big house we built just the other year is a foot underwater. Before it was like probably half a foot to a foot above the water. So all the rain we've had
out there in the rubber trees drains downhill to here. Now it's going to end up here in these dams, and that was kind of the idea, but we thought we had the water under control. We thought that we could move it down and out through the pipe down the bottom of the property at a quick enough rate. But in the couple of hours that we've had, you know, the rubber trees have got an enormous amount of water on, and that's all coming down from the high end of the property, catching there because this ground is raised. The house is above that, a foot or so, but this walkway is a little bit low. Now this dam it's not overflowing because it's the rubber tree water is flowing into it over the walkway path. So I hope we have a bit of a gap in the rain, and I hope the subsoil drain going down to the bottom corner doesn't have any issues, because we need to get rid of some of this water. The pipe that was blocked on the big dam around the other side there, it was moving water but very, very slowly, so we're pretty sure it's clogged up with roots or something that have broken into the pipe along its distance. And I was digging up that section that we identified seemed to be blocked because the hose wouldn't get past it. Well, with this rain, after a short while, the actual end of that pipe, water was actually coming out of it rather than going into it. So the small dam is actually at a level higher than the big dam is. So I would really like a bit of a gap of a few hours in this rain for the water in the small dam to go down. What we did do here was we did put the cap back on the pipe so that the water's not coming back from the small dam to the big dam. If we get too much water in the small dam, I might have to reverse that and allow it to drain into this area. In rural property, water management, it's an ongoing thing. 1 minute we're crying about not enough water, or the pump's broken, or whatever, and then we have a day like today, we're in the wet season, and we're crying for the other sort of reasons, like we've got all this water and we've got to get rid of it. You might see just down here, if the water gets too high, there is a blue poly pipe. Just, you can see that there is a drop net hanging from the tree. At the bottom of it, you can see that there's a 35mm pipe that goes out under the dirt and the wall there. So if the water gets up to that level, which is sort of critical level, that it's not going to come up to the level of this concrete here, then that'll deposit out in the road also. We have a similar thing. We've got a wet dog. He doesn't like being showered or bathed. Anyway, there is another blue poly pipe on the big dam here, the one that you can see there, and it goes out under that wall there and deposits onto the road if that dam gets up to that kind of level. You can see the end of the pipe out there, and that light blue knob is a pipe that goes down about 12 inches and then does an elbow, and it comes along this trench. It's actually underwater there. That's the problem pipe. About the middle of this hole is where the hose would get to and not get beyond. I dug down and found that there was no roots from the tree that we had to sacrifice and get out of there. That was one of these guys. It's like an ornamental sort of rubber tree. Talani uses leaves off that for creating the wreaths that you saw in a previous video not long ago. So that's the overflow for that one. The pipe I'm working on is about a foot below that. The rain came down and I had to kind of give up on that because I was just sort of getting flooded in water in the actual trench that I was digging. Couldn't do much more there. Yeah, what can I say? There's so much water filling from the down. The downpipe goes into a 1,000-litre tank here. You can see the downpipe goes into this tank. But that's about 2/3 full now because I had to open the stopcock, drain cock at the bottom. We have an overflow from here going down. That's only a 25mm pipe and depositing out there. So when the water gets up to that level, it overflows out and down out through this pipe onto the road. Well, the amount of rain which was coming out of those gutter was well beyond that 25mm pipe could actually overflow with, so I had to open up the stopcock down the bottom to match the amount of water that was going in. And I might just leave that open and let that tank empty more, so they've got reserve capacity if we close that off overnight. But yeah, lots and lots of water. This dam is up 8 to 10 inches. This morning, yeah, I am getting rained on. That grassy area in the middle between the two dams, that was well above the water level. It's now about 10 inches higher. So there's tens and tens of thousands of litres. For that matter, probably even tens of thousands of gallons. Enormous amount of water in that period of rain. And it's heavy rain. It's deluge kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what we're doing at the moment. This afternoon I'm going to go and have a drink with the other Western guys for angles around town, and not much else we can do. I can't really work out on the property. Done all I can as far as the drainage and so on goes. Now I really just need a dry patch to let that small dam drain down through the culvert down the end of the property. It's going to take a while. As you can see, there's so much water, and we're talking about so much water has come down in that couple of hour period. I hope it doesn't continue all day. I'd like a bit of breathing space for everything to equalise, get back under control. But if we have an issue where this just isn't draining quick enough, then I'll get the Honda pump out. I'll stick the pump here in the corner and I'll pump it out under that blue mesh across the road. I only use a soft wall type of pipe, so that, you know, cars going on or whatever can drive on it. It flattens when they drive and then it opens up again as they pass. So that property there is a metre below the road, so there's no problem pumping that volume of water out there. In fact, the guy would be quite probably happy about it, because he'll end up with more rice fields to sustain his rice crop. That's the way it works. Never a dull moment in Thailand. If you end up coming here or planning to stay for any period of time in rural Thailand, because that's what we're talking about, that's where I am, that's my chosen spot. And you guys are the one I'm talking to, the ones that are interested in rural areas. So not necessarily purely farm or anything like that, but just rural Thailand, you know, well away from the big smoke like Bangkok. But that's how life goes out here. It's interesting, it's fun. We have kind of dramas like this, but what can you do about it? You just deal with it the best way you can. Talani's been off, there she is now, she's coming back, she's fishing. And her fishing gear is wherever she stopped on the river. You put your fish net out? Oh, you have some fish?
Yep.
No? We have some fish in here, so Talon's been out fishing. And the drop net, it's a long bamboo shaft with a square net on it. You drop that into the bottom of the water course, and then you lift it up with a rope later on. Well, that's where she's been. And she didn't bring the net back, so I'm going back and forwards quite a few times to check the net. The road's a bit knocked up, and that happens in wet season. The same sections all the time. I'm hoping that next time they resurface it, maybe they will redo those sections in concrete, which is what they tend to do in the towns. It's more stable, it doesn't pothole. Whereas with the bitumen, you get cracks and things in the road, and you get heavy traffic, and you get water seepage, which washes out some of the soil in the crack and under the crack, and then you end up with a weak point, and of course eventually you'll end up with a pothole through all of that. But yeah, we've had a lot of rain, guys, in a short period. But I've just been down to the gas station, petrol station, to fill up a container with petrol for the pump. The pump's full at the moment and running, but that pump's going to be running for quite a while to disperse or move the water from the big dam. Now at the moment it's going to the small dam, which is Chockers, and into the rubber tree area. We might contemplate actually directing it out onto the road. That sounds a bit radical, but the other side of the road is a low point, metre lower. Other rice fields, they won't have any objection to having the water. Some of the cars on the road might sort of have an objection, but generally they're rural people, generally they understand what's going on, generally they do it themselves, so it's no big deal. Occasionally you might have somebody sort of stop and say, oh, but, and you explain it to them and they say, okay, it might be right. They see what your issue is, your problem is, and they see that your solution is probably your only way out of it, so they let you get on with it. That's the way it is. So we're on the way back to the farm. This bit of road's quite good. It's sort of above the water problem. But yeah, so not a lot you can physically do. You can try and shift some water with the pump. You can't stop it raining, and you can't stop the flow of the water if the water goes where it wants to. You can try and redirect some of it, and that's about your best bet. So the rain has stopped. This dam is chock-a-block full. Well, you can see that the end of that plastic pipe is actually under the water there now. It does raise up here a bit, so consequently there's probably not a lot of flow coming out here onto the road. But we'll deal with that. But yeah, plenty of water on the road. Let's just take a wander down the corner here. As I said, there's a PVC pipe going behind this wall all the way down here to this dam. This dam's chock-a-block. If you look over there in the distance, that walkway is underwater. It's level with the water in the rubber trees, and yeah, it's pretty high here. That pipe is down there. That comes from the other dam. That's the overflow for this one. It comes out under the wall. We had a lot of water. Now from this dam, just down there where you see those little fishies, it goes under the coffee shop here. It goes under this concrete apron. It's about a metre and a half back from the boundary. I'm walking through water here. We had quite a deluge. Need to do a bit of cleaning there. Those bales of hay need to go. And we've got some water running out from there. That's the neighbour's property on the other side of the road. About a metre down from the road, you can see that. But down here on the corner of our property, we've got some noisy dogs on the next property. We have this concrete culvert. Now, this is actually, oh, let me get through here. There is the PVC pipe. It goes all the way down there and it hooks into that small dam. So that's the amount of water that's pouring out of there. It's quite a rate of water. That's a 4-inch pipe. And it goes down there under the road. You can see the lip of the concrete tube. I know that's about 2.5 feet wide concrete pipe that goes out across the road, and behind those trees there it dumps into that guy's property. So he'll be happy for the water that's coming across to fill his rice fields. Normally, Townie has got this sock on here over the end of that pipe to pick up any fish which actually get caught up in the flow of that water and deposit down here. As you can see, there's lots of water going out there, but it's still taking a while to make any impact on the amount of water which is in the property. You can see flowers here, flower patch is a bit wet, not great, but there's not a lot we can do about that. It's not really possible to do much walking there, that you could do too much to it. Down here, this is a low point because we filled along that boundary. That was one of the recent tasks, recent projects, where we took the soil out and made that other small dam next to the big dam before putting in the solar pump. So we filled that side. This land has been up for a while where we built the house. It had fill here. But this corner is still low. We've got some lemon trees. I keep calling them lemon trees because that's what the Thais call them. In fact, they're a lime. This is the most used citrus in Thailand. And we've actually got an enormous amount of citrus on this one bush here, so we should be picking some of those soon. The other trees aren't much different, so they kind of got overgrown and hidden here in the corner. I did some cutting, and now it's low. It's been low all along. But consequently, it's underwater there. So we do want to put some fill in there and raise it up so we don't end up with that water court there, because the citrus trees really don't like having wet feet for extended periods of time. They get root rot and all sorts of stuff. They like lots of water, but they do like well-drained soil, which is not what we have there right now. So raising the level will stop the water from catching there like that. The beans, well, kind of get the idea we might be sort of an off-season. We only had a short run from these, but I think the volume of rain and everything, they just haven't sort of responded like the first lot did. Came on gangbusters, really strong to start with. But I think maybe we were a little bit sort of towards the end of the season where they tend to be prolific and happy. You can see the amount of water out here. The inland sea is back. We'll call it inland sea in earlier videos when we were talking about cutting. Enormous amount there. Those dogs over there on the corner are responding because Taxi, our dog, has gone down there to have a look at them, inquisitive as she is, and they just fire up. About 5 or 6 little white dogs. They're a terrier of some sorts. And as you know, most small sort of terriers and dogs make more noise than their size. They try and make up for their size by yakking a lot. Well, once those ones get started, they don't stop. And making up for their size, 5 or 6 of them, they reckon they've got their own little army. They can tackle anything, any dog of any size. I'm not really a great fan of small dogs like that, yakking dogs. I'd rather have something like a Kelpie or a cross like Taxi. A lot more sensible. You can see the water goes all the way up to that pathway roadway, which is the other side of the rubber trees. And then the other side of that road is the lime trees, the Thai limes. But in that last lot of rain, this was only sort of halfway. The distance between us and the other roadway only had water halfway across. And with that last deluge, this particular line here, it's water all the way up to that road. Enormous amount of water came down. Some of the others, you know, the space between the trees, are pretty much the same. And we're at the big house, the project house that we built, and we have a walkway between this and the old house, which we had the tractor in, and we bulldozed soil in to raise that up so we'd have a nice sort of dry path to walk, because the dam's on that side and the rubber trees on that side. The rubber trees get lots of water, and there is a plastic pipe for the rubber trees to drain into that dam. But of course, when the dam's up at the high level that it is, and the rubber tree is a little bit lower than the path and the dam, then that pipe's probably working back to front. The water's probably going from the dam into the rubber trees. So everything's a trade-off. Depending on the season, it's good or it's bad. We did have a couple of mature fish die, and we're unsure why. But there they are there. Each one of those is about a foot long. They're big fish. So whether it's just something sort of like old age, or they'd spawned and done their thing and it was time for them to go, I don't quite know. But it's pretty sad that we didn't actually manage to fish them before that happened and actually get the benefit from them. So should we take them out of there? Salmon has a propensity to throw anything and everything in there, and the fish eat it. Doesn't matter what it is. Whether or not the fish is the same story, I'm not sure, but I don't necessarily question her on that. I let her do what she's always done. But the water level is very, very high here, and I'm not quite happy about that. I'd like that to be a lot lower from the concrete apron of this house. The concrete apron is a separate concrete pouring to the foundation of the house. The house had a sunk concrete channel, semi-sunk concrete channel, with all its rebar and everything and cross bracing. You'll see that if you look at the Mystery House project. And so that's separate to this concrete pour here. This was poured afterwards. So while the house foundation and everything's not in any way threatened by this heightened level of the water, I would prefer the water to be a lot lower away from this apron rather than having it get undermined or whatever from too much rain. Reason obviously is that the dam is a bit high at the moment. The other thing is we do have plastic along here because as yet there's no gutter on here to channel the water away from this roof, and it's a big expanse, so it collects a lot of water. That is one of the tasks I need to deal with. You can see we have some water here, the water level, which is actually a little bit above the actual level of the road. So we're holding back water with our dam at this point. So as we just looked, the pipe is flowing quite well. It's flowing a lot of water out into the culvert in the corner. Hopefully over the next 12-24 hours, this area will drain down to the level of that pipe, and we'll get rid of this water. A lot of water to deal with, because it's not just what you see here in the dam. This dam is level with the water that's in the rubber trees, so we're not just discharging the water that you see in the square. As this discharges, this dam is topping up from the water flowing in from the rubber trees. So they both have to come down together to see any impact in the dam itself going down. So that culvert end cap pipe will have to stay open, and we can get that down to that kind of level. And in the meantime, I'll be working on this transfer pipe behind this wall, under the ground, under the concrete, that you obviously can't get to in any way, to make that open up, discharge the excess water that we have in the big dam. And if you're looking here a lot, so it's up even a little bit more than the earlier snippet of video when I was talking to you at the start of the of this video. And if we look down there, we can just see the top of that cap. So before, in the previous shots, you could see that that was much more exposed. But that first section of pipe, in the middle of this hole there's a joint. So that section of this pipe, once I take the soil away from it, I can pull that out, which will then expose the point that the garden hose stopped at, and I'll be able to see what's in there. I think it's tree roots, but by the same token it could be something else. It could be a backlog of earth or something that's swallowed in there. It could even be frogs or dead snake or creatures that have made a home in there. Well, I'll find out when I get that length of pipe off of there, and we'll do whatever's necessary in modifications to arrive at a working drainage from this dam. So yeah, work in progress. So that'll be what I'll be doing in the next few days, managing that. Yeah, so I'll be off this afternoon and have a bit of get together with the local foreigners, the Westerners, foreigners, and we'll have a bit of a natter and see how each other's week has been going, and just a general bit of a chill out. So thanks for watching, and by all means please leave comments, ask questions. I'll be happy to answer them, so please subscribe, and we'll get back to you again on the next video. Bye for now.